Hi everyone and welcome back to another general knowledge quiz episode from the Real Pub Quiz. For those who are new, I'm Alan, your regular quizmaster and host. Pause the video now, it is an idea to grab pen and paper, both to write down your answers and keep note of your score. And please remember to post your score in the comments below at the end of the video. Today's quiz is a quickfire general knowledge and trivia quiz. There's 40 questions to answer, so 40 points in total. How many will you score? Good luck, let's crack on with the quiz. Question 1. What nationality was the actor Charlie Chaplin? He was British. Charlie Chaplin once entered a Charlie Chaplin lookalike contest and lost. He didn't even make it to the final round. Question 2. Featured in Arthur Miller's play The Crucible, the town of Salem is in which US state? You would find Salem in Massachusetts. During the 1692 Salem witch trials, more than 200 people were accused of witchcraft, but only 20 were ever executed, and none of them were actually burned at the stake. They were mostly hanged. Question 3. How many sides does a dodecahedron have? It has 12 sides. A dodecahedron is one of the 5 Platonic solids, defined by having faces that are all identical regular polygons, meeting at the same 3-dimensional angles. Question 4. In the Tour de France, what colour and pattern of jersey does the King of the Mountains win? That would be a white jersey with red polka dots. The Tour de France is over 100 years old. It was first held in 1903 to help boost the sales of a French newspaper called Le Auto. Today it's the most famous and prestigious cycling race in the world. Question 5. According to Greek mythology, which hero defeated the Minotaur? And that would be Theseus. The Minotaur was kept in a huge complex maze called the Labyrinth on the island of Crete. The maze was built by the master craftsman Daedalus so that no one could escape, not even Daedalus himself. Question 6. Which US comedy actor stars as Steve in the new Minecraft movie? And that actor is Jack Black. To prepare for the role, Jack reportedly played over 100 hours of Minecraft on private servers with the movie's cast and crew. Question 7. Which actor was elected Governor of California in 2003? And that was Arnold Schwarzenegger. He won the 2003 California recall election and served as governor for 2 terms. He famously called himself the Governator. Question 8. In which country is the volcano Mount Vesuvius located? Mount Vesuvius is in Italy. It famously erupted in 79 AD, burying the Roman cities of Pompeii and Herculaneum under ash. Archaeologists still uncover ancient Roman life almost perfectly frozen in time. Question 9. Which author wrote the novel Anna Karenina? And that was written by Leo Tolstoy. When it was first published in the 1870s, it was serialised in a magazine, meaning readers had to wait for each new chapter like a TV series today. Question 10. Ammonia is formed with hydrogen and which other element? It is formed using hydrogen and nitrogen. The industrial process used to make ammonia is called the Haber process. It was so important for food production that it's often credited with helping to sustain the world's population. Question 11. What is U2 lead singer Bono's real name? His real name is Paul Hewson. He got his famous nickname from a hearing aid store in Dublin called Bonavox, which means good voice in Latin. Question 12. What nationality was Pope Francis, who recently passed away on Easter Monday? He was Argentinian. Pope Francis was born in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and was the first ever Pope from Latin America, as well as the first Jesuit Pope in history. Question 13. Which English football side are nicknamed the Magpies? And that would be Newcastle United. They earned the nickname the Magpies because of their iconic black and white striped shirts, which resembled the colouring of a magpie bird. Question 14. What is the name of the fictional high school in the 1978 film Grease? The high school is called Rydell High, which is actually named after real-life 1950s teen idol Bobby Rydell, who was famous for hits like Wild One, a nod to the film's rock and roll vibe. Question 15. Who was the first person to officially break 10 seconds in the 100 metre sprint? And that was Jim Hines. He ran 9.95 seconds at the 1968 Mexico City Olympics. He became the first man to officially break the 10-second barrier, and his record stood for nearly 15 years. Question 16. Brandon Flowers is the lead singer of which US band? He is the lead singer of The Killers. They took their name from a fictional band shown in a music video by British rock group New Order. Question 17. What is the name of the fictional town where the Flintstones live? The Flintstones live in Bedrock. It was the first ever animated series to be broadcast in primetime television. Question 18. What is the last letter of the Greek alphabet? And that would be the letter Omega. In Greek, Omega literally translates to Great O, symbolising the end or the ultimate limit. That's why it's often used to represent the end in literature and science. Question 19. Which trainer or sneaker manufacturer is named after a type of antelope? And the correct answer here is Reebok. It comes from the Afrikaans spelling of Reebok, a type of swift African antelope. Question 20. What nationality are the car manufacturers Volvo? They are in fact Swedish. They were founded in Gothenburg, Sweden in 1927, and the name Volvo comes from the Latin meaning I roll. Question 21. Which country has a silver fern as its national emblem? That is the country of New Zealand. The silver fern is a symbol of New Zealand's unique wildlife and natural beauty. It's famously worn by its national sports teams like the All Blacks rugby team. Question 22. Can you name the type of monkey seen here? That is a proboscis monkey. They are only found on the island of Borneo, and it's famous for its huge, drooping nose. The bigger the nose, the more attractive the male is to females. Question 23. In the original Star Trek series, how long was the mission of the Starship Enterprise? It had a 5-year mission to famously go and explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life, new civilizations, and to boldly go where no man had gone before. Question 24. Colorado and which other US state first legalised cannabis for recreational use in 2012? And that was the state of Washington. Despite legalisation at state level, cannabis remained illegal under US federal law, meaning that federal government could still raid dispensaries even in states where cannabis was legalised. Question 25. On which continent would you find the Valdivian temperate forests? They are in South America. The forests can be found in southern Chile and Argentina. They are one of the few places outside of New Zealand where ancient trees like the giant alerce still survive. And here is your bonus question. Which artist painted the 1901 oil-on canvas artwork, Pyramid of Skulls? And you can answer in the comments below. Now, if you've made it this far in the quiz and you're enjoying the quiz, please help support the channel. Smash that like button, subscribe for more content, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss an upload. It's free, and it plays a massive role in pushing this video and the channel out to a much wider audience. Right, let's get back to the quiz. Question 26. In Star Wars, what species is Chewbacca? He is a Wookiee. Chewbacca is a Wookiee from the planet Kashyyyk, and his voice was created by blending sounds from bears, lions, and other animals. Question 27. Which country does Gouda cheese originate from? It originates in the Netherlands. It's named after the city of Gouda, where it has been traded at traditional cheese markets for centuries. It is one of the most popular cheeses worldwide. Question 28. Which island is the largest of the Canary Islands? And that is the island of Tenerife. It's not only the largest Canary island, but it's also home to Mount Teide, the highest peak in Spain and the third tallest volcanic structure in the world. Question 29. Kumasi and Accra are cities in which African country? They are cities in Ghana. Accra is actually the capital of Ghana, while Kumasi is often called the Garden City because of its beautiful greenery. It was also once the capital of the powerful Ashanti Empire. Question 30. David Koresh was the cult leader of which religious group located in Waco, Texas? He was the cult leader of the Branch Davidians. The 1993 standoff between the Davidians and the US federal agents lasted 51 days. It ended in a tragic fire that remains one of the most infamous events in modern American history. Question 31. Who composed the soundtrack to the film Jaws? It was composed by John Williams. It just repeated two notes, became one of the most recognisable pieces of film music ever, and won him an Oscar for Best Original Score. Question 32. What was the name of the island where Napoleon Bonaparte was exiled to in 1814? And that was the island of Elba. Napoleon famously escaped his exile in less than a year, returned to France and briefly regained power during the period known as the 100 Days. Question 33. In which country would you find the Mahabodhi Temple? It is in India. The Mahabodhi Temple marks the spot where the Buddha is said to have attained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree. Question 34. Which singer had a hit in 1983 with the song Girls Just Wanna Have Fun? And that was a hit for Cyndi Lauper. The song was originally written by a man, but Cyndi Lauper changed the lyrics to make it a song about female empowerment, helping it become one of the biggest hits of the 1980s. Question 35. Can you name the animal pictured here? And that is an okapi. Although they look like a mix between a zebra and a horse, they are actually the closest living relatives of giraffes. They even have the same long tongue to grab leaves. Question 36. In Greek mythology, the Myrmidons were warriors created by Zeus out of which type of insects? They were created out of ants. The word Myrmidon comes from the Greek word for ant, myrmex, and according to myth, Zeus turned ants into fierce loyal warriors to repopulate an island after a plague wiped out its people. Question 37. In which US city was Malcolm X assassinated? He was assassinated in New York in 1965 while speaking at the Audubon Ballroom in Manhattan, New York City, just as he was preparing to launch a new movement focused on human rights. Question 38. Something cooked on papillote is cooked in what? It is cooked in parchment paper. On papillote is a French cooking method where food is wrapped in parchment paper and then baked. It traps the steam inside to keep everything juicy, tender and full of flavour. Question 39. Who wrote the Captain Underpants series of children's books? They were written by Dav Pilkey. He was inspired to create Captain Underpants back in elementary school after his teacher told him he spent too much time daydreaming and doodling superheroes. And lastly, question 40. Which actor played the role of Morpheus in the 1999 film The Matrix? The role of Morpheus was played by Lawrence Fishburne. Before the role had been finally cast, producers actually considered Samuel L. Jackson and Gary Oldman for the role. That concludes today's quiz. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to let me know your score in the comments below. Smash that like button, it is important. If you enjoyed this type of content, subscribe to the channel and why not try out these other quizzes here. Bye for now.